Hey y'all. Well, it's Wednesday evening and I'm going to make soup and cornbread for supper. And the soup is whatever I have on hand. I don't really care. I just want to mix it all together and cook it so I can have something hot to eat with my cornbread. It's the most important thing in my meal. So, uh, I'm going to go ahead and mix up the cornbread. And the last time I ordered cornmeal, they sent me pearl milling. Now this cornmeal is it's like flour. It's finely milled, and my preference is for Martha White. You know, I can get it in white or yellow, and it's a little more grainy. It's still pretty fine, but it's grainy. So, and this is not self-rising. And my deer are out there. I see one. Alright, I'm starting out with one egg. And beat it up just a little bit. I'll put in some, there's two deer, that is. Put in, there's three. Put in some buttermilk. I don't know, 3/4 of a cup or a cup, something like that. And put in the rest of this cornmeal. I usually get it in the 5-pound bags. And I opened this one on the 23rd of October. So that's pretty good. Now, I'm going to put in this not self-rising. I'm going to make a big pan of cornbread because I really need to season my cast iron skillet. And so I'll just make a big pan of cornbread and that'll help that. And I'm going to use my new measuring spoons that my cousin Ernestine got for me. They are stainless steel, and these right here are copper on the outside and stainless steel inside, and they're real heavy. So I'm real proud to get those. All right, I'm going to add a tablespoon of baking powder and I don't know, maybe a half a teaspoon of baking soda. Because when you use buttermilk, you need to put baking soda in your mix. Okay, that does that. Now, let me mix this up. And cornbread is called quick bread for a reason, because you mix it up quickly. And you can use buttermilk or you can use sweet milk. Sweet milk, that's what my mother called it. It just means whole milk, regular milk. And you can use any kind of milk. Plant-based milk, canned milk, powdered milk, goat milk. It doesn't matter, just milk of some kind. And quickly mix that. Okay, now that's thick. I don't want it to be that thick because when the batter's thick, your cornbread ends up being kind of crumbly. So I add a little bit more buttermilk. And I love my gravy whisk for making cornbread. Okay. Rinse that off. When you rinse it off, it's easier to clean up. Okay, now I'm just going to let that sit until my oil in my pan gets hot, because you want that oil in your cast iron skillet to be smoking hot. Alright, I want to get my soup ready. Now I don't have a fresh onion, and I'll just have to do without it. You know, onions don't agree with me like they used to, so I don't keep as many onions around as I used to. I'll just use some onion powder. I'm going to dice these potatoes small so they'll cook a little quicker if I cut them in chunks. And I'm leaving the peeling on, just extra nutrition. And I don't really care about peeling potatoes. I still have snow in my yard because I have so many trees around here. It keeps it shady for a long time. And my house faces north, so the front yard, where the sun is stopped by the eaves of the house, it still has snow. I've seen snow stay in our yard for up to 3 weeks, depending on what the temperature is outside. And it's been pretty nice here the last few days. And I guess y'all notice, if you've watched enough of my videos, you notice I don't use a cutting board. I grew up, we didn't have a cutting board, and this is the way I learned to do it. Just put it in my hands and cut. Although when I first started cooking, I would cut up a lot of, like when I learned to make apple pies and I was cutting those apples, I would hold my knife too hard, too tight or whatever, and my thumb would have little cut marks in it. But I've learned over the years how not to get cuts in my thumbs from cutting food in my hand. Yeah, it might be quicker to use a cutting board. You know, just lay them down there and cut massive amounts of them, but I feel comfortable doing it this way. So every once in a while I get my cutting board out, you know, if I feel like I'm going to do it right. Well, the deer are still out there. And yes, I could use a colander, pour out this water, but my hand, my arm do just as good. Okay, I washed those potatoes. Now, instead of using my vegetable broth, I'm going to use some of this white miso soybean paste to give me, you know, flavor for my soup. Just put in a big hunk of that. Okay. Put in a can of corn, can of green beans. Okay. Put in a big handful of fresh spinach. Maybe a couple of handfuls. And I think I'm going to use some of my sun-dried tomatoes. I'm going to drain them on this paper towel. Okay, I'll cut these up just a little bit. Nope, I think I'll use my scissors. That would be easier. Looks like little strips of bacon that have been marinated. That's what it looks like. Okay, that is done. Okay, let me season it up here. Okay, some onion powder. Some celery seed. If you've never used ground celery seed, I wish y'all would try it. It's, it's not like eating celery. It's got a nice flavor that you don't really notice. Your friends, now this is sage. Your friends don't say, "Ooh, you got celery in there." It just gives it a nice quality, a nice deep flavor. And some jalapenos. These are diced. Okay, now I'm going to take this over to the stove. I'll come back and get y'all. Now you can see my cornbread has risen up. I know my mother would always mix up her cornbread and let it sit for a little while. And I never asked her why she did that. I regret that, but let's see. Feels hot, but okay. Now I'll let this cook for 20-25 minutes in a 400-degree oven. And let me put a little salt and pepper in here, which I did not do earlier. I got about 2 cups of water here. Okay. let that come to a boil and then I'll turn it down. Okay, I've taken my cornbread out of the oven. Flip it over. Okay. Check on the soup. Let's see how it looks. I can feel the potatoes are still hard. So I'll let that cook a little while longer. Turn my oven off. I'll just open the oven door and set the cornbread back in there. I'll just leave the door cracked. And when it gets done, I'll be back. Okay, let's check and see if this soup is ready. Okay, get some soup. Cornbread. I'm getting 2 pieces. Oh yeah. Turn that off and put the top on. Okay. Now this soup is going to be hot. I'm going to taste the broth. Yes, that's a nice flavor. And one of the spices or herbs I forgot to tell you that I put in there was thyme, a little bit of thyme. I can taste the miso. I taste the jalapenos. There's not too many in there, you know, like to make it too hot or anything. But it's got a nice flavor. I can taste the spinach in there. So this ought to be pretty satisfying. And let's try this butter, which just fell out. Let's see. It's been cold up here in the front part of the house, so it hadn't been real soft. Yeah. Yep, my cornbread's kind of crumbling there. And that's because it was thick, even after I added the buttermilk to it. But it doesn't matter. It's cornbread. It's going to taste good. Really good. Okay, y'all. Y'all have a good evening, a good day, a good afternoon. And please remember to be kind to someone. Someone needs your kindness today. Bye.